I've had enough. It's about time my cats start contributing around here. I mean, they don't pay rent, and they even have the audacity to demand food from me even when they're fed. And you know what? I'll be honest with you. I normally would let this slide because, well, you can't deny it, my cats are cute. But we have fallen on hard economic times. And so their cuteness is just not cutting it. So naturally, I had a thought. If I can't really get my real life cats to contribute, maybe I can get my Stardew ones too. I mean, when my Stardew cat keeps dropping slimy fish I could very well donate to the community center. It's only natural to question whether I can monopolize on this gift and then subsequently turn it into the gift that just keeps on giving. And that's exactly what I'm setting out to do. And you know what? I will thrive doing it because you can't exactly complete the community center bundles with just a pet. I did look into it, and even if you had a cat, dog, and turtle on your side, there's no way to source all the materials like seeds, geodes, etc. So the JoJo route it is. Fortunately for me, cats do seem to be a more profitable pet option compared to those turtles and dogs. So I don't have to suffer knowing a dog or turtle could do a better job in this scenario because they can't. Although I do have another personal reason why I do want to do this challenge, and it's simply for redemption. Because not only do my cats not pay rent, my cats, well, okay, we've got to be fair. One of my cats in particular drains my pockets dry. And so really, my cat son Casper is the one in need of redemption. I adopted this cute, unassuming black cat. He had all his fur when I adopted him. And yes, that is important because he didn't have any problems for a while. Everything was good, he was good, but then it all changed. And he started to look like this. And this. He even looked like this. I mean, he was more chicken than cat. He would literally be feasting on his flesh for his meals like a sad little hobbit. And it turns out he has allergies. So yes, my cat now goes to a dermatologist every 6 months. And he gets weekly allergy shots and even allergy medicine. But if you thought it stopped there, you would be sadly mistaken. And to be fair, it doesn't even really start there, since they did misdiagnose his allergies as anxiety at first. So for a while, he was on anxiety meds, but he was still chomping away at his flesh. But anyway, on top of this all, only one of his eyes started to water. Now, if you're like me, you would think, okay, that's probably allergy related, but no. Apparently not, because it's just one of his eyes. So then he was referred to an ophthalmologist. Yes, head ophthalmologists do exist. And when those ophthalmologists couldn't figure out what was going on, he was referred to the university vet's clinic almost 2 hours away, since they had better imaging over there to see what was going on. My cat son needed a CT scan because, oh yeah, during this all, he started making snoring noises while he was awake. So then he was referred to internal medicine. But you want to know the best part of it all? Turns out the university vet couldn't find anything wrong with him. Isn't that just amazing? And so yes, my son is a little leaky. One of his eyes waters now because the vet said it's really not worth investigating further since his quality of life isn't really affected. He just has a watery eye, and then sometimes you can hear him breathing. And personally, I really would have loved to have come to this conclusion several thousands of dollars earlier. I mean, it's fine. We're fine. I guess more importantly, Casper is fine. But I think you can understand that I need this. even if it is virtual redemption. So my plan of action is quite simple. Start off with the Riverlands farm for the fish smoker. In the meantime, while I'm waiting to get my cat and then subsequently reach full hearts with him, I want to reach both level 10 fishing and farming. That will mean any fish dropped by my cat will have both the fishing perks and artisan perks as well, because I do plan to smoke every single fish that comes into my clutches. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is truly the best of both worlds. Because most of what cats drop in this game are really either fish or fish adjacent in some way. Which does bring me to an important point of this challenge. I'm going to complete the JoJo bundle with all these gifts and nothing else. I'm allowing myself to use the fish smoker, obviously, but beyond that, it's just me, my cat, and the fish smoker against this JoJo Forsaken world. Of course, I aptly named my farm Catnip Farm because I do want to entice all the cats to me, even if I'm only going to have one. I am going to try to finish the JoJo route with just one cat, but honestly, we will have to see how things go because the wiki doesn't exactly tell you how much money you can make from your cat every season. And on top of it all, an additional cat is a pretty penny, so I don't know if working over that kind of money will be worth it in the long run. I guess only time will tell. And so I really need to get to it. I started off my day as uneventful as possible. I planted my starter parsnips, and to be fair to myself, I guess it wasn't actually as uneventful as possible because I did find and plant some mixed seeds as well. Really mixing things up right there. But don't you worry. I wasted no time picking up my fishing rod. Willie has no idea the monster he has created by giving me his rod. I didn't mean it like that, but you know what? I'll just go with it. Anyway, surprisingly, I did not head straight to the mountain lake. Since I won't be selling any of my fish, it doesn't really matter where I am fishing as long as I can get my hands on some bubbles. Which is just fantastic, you know, because I didn't end up finding any bubbles. And okay, fair. That is completely fair. Maybe Willie does know the fishing monster I'm about to be, so no bubbles is the way he's trying to limit my skills. So you know what? Screw the beach. Let's go to the mountain lake. There's better company up there anyway, even though I'm fairly certain it's canon that the lake is in fact Linus's personal bathroom. I managed to get some mixed seeds in a treasure chest. I've never quite been so happy to see mixed seeds in my life, and especially in a treasure chest, because I do know from past experiences what an absolute grind it will be to get enough of these to maybe, just maybe, have enough experience for level 10 by the time my pixel son returns home from war. From playing this game enough, I already know that once I get my cat, I should have until sometime in fall when we are able to hit the max of 5 hearts and subsequently unlock my cat's ability to be somewhat helpful. So I have until then to get my farming skill up. And don't forget about my fishing skill, but in all honesty, I'm not really worried about fishing in the slightest. I mean, look, guys, it's day 1 of fishing and I've already managed to snag a level. It is just 1 level, so I have to admit, that does sting a little, but hey, it's Willie's fault. The familiar sights and sounds of the 3rd day rain day hit me, and normally I would spend the day catfishing. So naturally, yes, I did just that. Sue me. Thankfully, this time I was able to find some bubbles, and pure skill, my first cast of the day already left me with some ideas to sleep on. These hands were meant for catfishing. I mean, it's even got cat in the name. Just imagine the profits I could get from selling these slimy suckers. Just imagine it, and then store that idea in a storage chest because that's where these fish will be for the remainder of their life. But I'm no longer a fishing noob because I'm now level 3 fishing. But I guess Yoba or whoever watches down upon me and judges silently or not so silently, honestly, did not like that because what do you mean there were 2 crows stealing my crops the next morning? 1 is understandable. Unwelcome, but understandable. 2 is just downright a personal attack. But I guess I don't really have a leg to stand on there since there's no scarecrow standing anywhere around here. But it's not for a lack of trying. I'm just too weak in the farming department. As an act of pure vengeance, I made sure to find 2 more mixed seeds to pay tribute to the 2 fallen soldiers from earlier. But someone was still laughing at me because why Bubbles if Bubbles so far away? I stuck with it though. If there's one thing I'm good at, it's not giving up, even when maybe I should. I really don't know what that says about me, but in this case, it was good because eventually there were some bubbles I could reach. Only they showed up so late in the day, I didn't get to take full advantage of them. Once again, I know from past experiences that you don't want to be passing out when every piece of gold matters, because you will be paying the price for that, literally. But I did manage to reach level 4 fishing, so balance was restored to the world. I mean, day 4, level 4, what more could you ask for? With the mines open, I knew I had to make my way over there. Once fishing is out of the way, I will be spending a lot of time in the mines gathering mixed seeds, so it is best I do get familiar with the place. But maybe I'm a little unwelcome here. At least I'm starting to feel that way both on my farm and in the valley, because stairs finally appeared. But oh, my farmer decided it was time to take a nap instead? How great! I got level 1 farming, but at what cost? It feels more like a consolation prize. Surely tomorrow will start off better, but then that would have required Harvey to not steal a whole 50 gold from me. Knock a girl while she's down, why don't you, Harvey? To stay away from the town that hates me, I did go on ahead and fish on my farm. Novel idea. I know, crazy to actually fish on my Riverlands farm. Kind of feels illegal. Knowing my luck, I bet Mayor Lewis will find a way to make that actually illegal. But they've got nothing on me because I did reach level 5 fishing, which does mean it's only day 6 and I'm already halfway to my fishing goal. I was tempted to continue the fishing grind, but I decided to take a break to get further into the mines. But it must have just been a bad luck day. I had to pry myself out of the mines at level 28, and then I didn't even make it to my bed before passing out for the night. Robbed right outside my home, I started off this challenge with little to my name, and I somehow managed to have even less to my name. It's truly a talent. So you know what? It was clear. Going to the mines was not the move yesterday, so I did wise up and spent the rest of the day fishing instead. And my efforts were rewarded with level 6 fishing. I couldn't resist the urge to catfish, but I could tell my luck wasn't too good, so to save myself from trash collecting, I headed on over to the mines. In addition to getting the insect head weapon, I did make it to level 35, so I am so close to getting these hands on iron for future sprinklers. Even if they are basic sprinklers, I have spoken my hatred of the basic sprinklers into existence quite a few times by this point, but that does not mean when the opportunity arises, I will not put my hatred aside to get further in this game. Even if their terrible layout will haunt me for the rest of eternity. Clearly, I have bigger problems than some poorly planned sprinklers. The next day, I was able to reach level 40 in the mines, so I stopped plunging on down and instead kept resetting floor 40 to get my hands on that iron ore. I then went on a mixed seed hunt, but I had pretty much depleted the valley of all fiber, so I settled for fishing at home, which was handy because I was able to fish a little bit longer into the night, but only I maybe fished a little too late into the night. I went to put some of my iron into my forge, but accidentally cast my fishing rod. No big deal. Only I overexerted myself, and then to top it off, I proceeded to pass out. So that's even more money down the drain. 2 weeks into this challenge, and I'm at a steady 135 gold loss. But wait, it doesn't end there. No, of course it wouldn't. I didn't realize I literally had no energy to my name, so I went to water my crops, and oof, I overexerted myself yet again. The gift that keeps on giving. But it's not the gift I wanted to keep on giving. Because I haven't even gotten to the actual part where my cat gives me gifts. This whole thing is just a scam. At least I did find this almighty leek to save the day. At this point, I was a little down in the dumps. In a challenge where the goal was to make money, I have done nothing but lose money. So, for the second time, you know what? I said screw it. And so I spent what little money I had left at Pierre's for some kale seeds. Looking back, maybe that was a little unnecessary, but I needed the morale boost, okay? I then spent the rest of the day fishing. I did get my hands on an artifact, and that was when I realized I could have been donating to Gunther for some free seeds. So I headed on home to gather what I could, but my best, surprise, was not good enough. Honestly, no surprise there, which is just to say I did not donate enough to get my hands on some cauliflower seeds. Not to mention, on my way to the lake, I found some nicely placed bubbles. Only those didn't last very long. But don't get too upset now. There's bubbles at the lake. But oh, they're literally on the bridge and unreachable. Don't worry, it's clear I didn't deserve them anyway. But I guess I did deserve to reach level 7 fishing at the end of the day. Now I only have 3 more levels to go. Of course, the only way to mend my broken ego was to absolutely crush some kids. I had to pass on my trauma to them. And hey, I think that's the real gift that keeps on giving here. I can't lie, getting some actual gifts for winning the hunt was nice too, suckers. And to top it off, I did reach level 2 farming. A more perfect day could not exist even if all the forces conspiring against me tried. But please don't try. I did donate a few more things to Gunther so I could finally get my hands on those free seeds. And then fishing was calling my name, so you know what? I answered the call. And I kept answering that call until I was able to reach level 8. And if you thought I would deviate from that, you were wrong. It was back to fishing, but not for too long, because at the end of the 18th, I was able to reach level 9 fishing. Another day of fishing came and went, and then it was the day that will change everything. Since I had made absolutely no money, I wasn't able to get my pet earlier in this season. Because of that, it was always going to be the 20th that I got my cat, my son, Casper. I had to name my pet after Casper because I need retribution, redemption, all the things, and it's only fitting if he's the one paying the price. But okay, before we make it any further, I have to say, this does not mean that I don't love my other cat, Esper, any less. I already have a hard time beating those allegations in real life. I do not need them in Stardew as well. I mean, come on. There are so many black cat decorations, especially during Halloween. When do you ever see calico cat decorations? Hardly ever. And fun fact, my mom actually found Esper on the side of a highway on the way home from my grandparents' farm. So wait, actually now that I say that, maybe I should have chosen Esper. She's got farming in her blood. But then again, she's not the one who cost me thousands of dollars. On my way out, I thought perhaps I did have a big brain moment. I know people use sprinklers for slimes, so I thought maybe I could use one for Casper's bowl, but you know when something feels too good to be true? Yeah, this was one of those times. I had a feeling. I knew if this was a thing in the game, I would have absolutely heard of it before, but I did think I was really doing something for one day in the game at least. And let's face it, my farmer could really use the optimism, but clearly I wasn't too optimistic because another day of fishing, but still no level 10. And that's when I realized my big brain move was actually no move at all. It was the opposite. So I guess I will just manually water my cat, and then back to fishing it was. Where not too far into the day, I did finally have some ideas to sleep on. Level 10 fishing is mine, all mine. You cannot take this away from me. Since I was nearby, I gathered what I could from the mine chest and did another round of donations so I could get my hands on those sweet summer seeds. You will also not be taking these away from me either. Now it's time to focus on raising my farming level. And to do that, I'll need lots and lots of mixed seeds. So to the mines I went to try and gather as many mixed seeds as I could, all of which I'll be saving to plant in summer just to be safe. And as predicted, I did end the day with level 10 fishing. Fish are now worth 50% more. And then if I manage to get level 10 farming, my smoked fish will be worth 40% more on top of that. But I know from my experience, it might be a little hard to squeeze in enough experience from mixed seeds to really get to that level 10 farming goal by the end of fall, or maybe even earlier. But I can try. And so I began my new routine. I pet and watered my cat Sun before heading on over to the mines to search for some mixed seeds. I did finally make sure to pay the wizard a visit on the 23rd, so I could go ahead and unlock the community center so I can later pay for the JoJo membership. And you know what? I was truly rewarded for this decision. I got these little hands on an ancient seed. And then I was rewarded yet again, this time for skipping the flower dance. I found yet another ancient seed in the mine. Just a single day later, I was harvesting some unassuming rice when I had some ideas to sleep on. And then after tending to my cat, I noticed we had our first half heart, which meant, yes, I am finally level 3 farming. I really need to pick up the pace. A couple more days of my usual activities, or so I thought. At the end of day 27, the fairy decided to pay a visit, which does mean my ancient fruits will be done growing in record time. And you know what? I can't help but notice that maybe things are starting to look up for me now that I have a cat. And maybe that's the true meaning of life and Stardew. Everything is better with a cat or two. And so I was able to end the spring season with fishing level 10, level 3 farming, and half a heart with Casper. To work on leveling up my farming skill, I did make sure to plant the mixed seeds and summer seeds I had gotten from Gunther. In doing so, I was so lost in the farming of it all, I almost forgot to water and pet my cat. But rest assured, I would never make such a fatal error. But then it was right back to the mines. I do think summer has a better selection of regrowable crops from these mixed seeds, but I do want to build a nice supply of mixed seeds before I even dare think of putting down my pickaxe. So day 3 of summer and Casper was playing hard to get. I swear, he's not like this in real life. He loves attention. He craves it. But I did manage to find him, and in the process of doing so, our first full heart is safely secured. Only 4 more to go. every day I'm making sure to pet and water Casper, which I do usually follow up with a mines session. I mean, what else would I be doing with that time? I could sleep the day away, but I have a feeling a lot of sleep is in my future. Just to shake things up, I did pick up the Help Wanted request on the 7th so I could get some seeds from the prize machine. So I fished up 3 pikes just for Willy. I'm sure he's regretting ever trying to stop my growth now. I mean, who's he asking for help after all? I would sleep with one eye open, Willy. The next day, I fulfilled Robin's sunfish request since I did have one clogging up my storage, but no prize ticket, so that was mildly disappointing. I did hop on over to Lewis's to trigger the prize machine cutscene, just in case. I always have the fear if something is not going according to plan that it was me who messed something up, but I didn't mess anything up the next day when I went to do a fruitful harvest, gaining some more ideas to sleep on. I followed that up by picking up the perfect request for Clint. He did want some copper ore, and as it turns out, I was going to the mines anyway. It's kind of like he could read my mind. So I hit up the mines and stayed long enough to get my ore before heading on over to Clint's. This time, finally, I was able to get a prize ticket. So, prize ticket in hand, I redeemed it for some summer squash. Oh, summer squash, how I despise you. I would say it's nothing personal. Well, okay, maybe it kind of is. Just know it's fully me and not you. If you know, you know. And with that, I did reach level 4 farming, which does mean farming is finally not my lowest skill. You know it's bad when combat is higher than your farming skill for a good chunk of the time. I'm just putting it out there, but my watering skills could use some work. I mean, I guess it's natural to miss here or there, but what I'm not missing is some love because I now have 1.5 hearts with my cat. And then the days just started to blur together. One day passing after the next. Until it was the 12th, that is. I was harvesting my crops as usual when my favorite notification appeared. I had some more ideas to sleep on, which meant I ended the day with level 5 farming. I chose Tiller so that I could be one step closer to being an artisan. Now the race is on! Will I reach level 10 farming first or 5 hearts with Casper? Then it was back to business as usual. And it stayed pretty usual until the 14th when I reached 2 full hearts with my cat. Halfway to maxing my farming skill and just about halfway to having full hearts with my cat as well. Balance is truly restored. A mere 2 days later, I had another harvest and I was not only racking in crops, but the experience as well. Because yeah, that's even more ideas to sleep on. Which does mean not only a new level, but quality sprinklers are now unlocked as well. I swear, the world is healing. To top it all off, it was a green rain day, so I didn't even have to hit up the mines to get my hands on some more mixed seeds. For the first time in this save, I decided to purposely pass out for the night. Not that I could have made it to my house if I even tried, because there was so much debris around me, but have no fear. The fairy was there to make everything better. And what was even better than that was I did secure level 6 farming. And whoa, guys, I lost a whopping 1 gold. Now that hits hard. I don't know how I will ever financially recover from this. Pixel Casper, you better fix me. You better fix this, okay? Everything in this world, yeah, everything is riding on you. And so he acted accordingly. He demanded to be pet. I decided to shake things up and search for more iron. I have about 100 mixed seeds in storage, so I'm really not hurting for seeds at the moment. But I will say, I am hurting for quality sprinklers. So I was in the mines for 4 days. Granted, I was still harvesting my crops when I could, of course. And on the 20th, I was met with another routine harvest. A routine harvest that did leave me with even more ideas to sleep on. And it was kind of at this moment that my hope was really starting to grow. I wasn't sure I would be able to hit level 10 by the time I got full hearts with Casper, but let me just say, it's feeling more and more possible each and every day. And on top of it all, I did reach 2.5 hearts with Casper, so now I am halfway to being loved by my virtual son. My real son would have loved me from the start, just saying. And yes, level 7 farming was unlocked at the very end of the day. So kind of in the back of my mind, I was thinking, you know what? I haven't encountered any ancient seeds in a while. And I kid you not, just as I was thinking that, an ancient seed dropped, but my eyes were busted. And I just didn't see it in time, so I staircased down, leaving that ancient seed abandoned. So yeah, that was unfortunate to say the least. Things were going too well for a while, so I feel like that was the world just righting itself and completely humbling me in the process. A couple days later, I did actually stumble across another ancient seed, but even that can't mend the hurt I've already felt. I guess it can at least try though. While I was harvesting on the 24th, Casper was demanding to be pet yet again. So I took a break to pet him, and oh, when you look at that, we now have 3 whole hearts. To follow that up the next day, I was once again harvesting, where I had yet again even more ideas to sleep on. Words really can't describe how happy I am feeling that these mixed seeds are truly carrying me through this. I mean, in my defense, I have been toiling away in the mines with the ability to get mixed seeds and mixed flower seeds. I have now about 300 seeds waiting to be planted. I feel like that should be enough to reach level 10 from here on out, but I mean, there's always that thought in the back of my head. What if it's not? In any case, I did go on to reach level 8 farming. And on the last day of summer, I did make sure to start laying out my basic sprinklers. I know it's going to be such a chore to plant everything tomorrow, so I do think it's best if I start on some of that work today. And with that, I did end the summer with 3 hearts with Casper, level 8 farming, and level 10 fishing as expected. I have a feeling fall will be my season. So I started things off by planting lots and lots and lots of seeds. I have so many seeds that I think my mine days are a thing of the past. And I'm really gonna trust myself here and hope that I do have enough seeds to get me all the way to level 10. There's nothing worse to me than having the time to do something like leveling up my farming skill, but then just not utilizing that time properly. Like, I will be petting and watering my cat and checking for harvestable crops and flowers. After that, that will be my end of the day, so straight to bed for me. And let me say, if I could have used that sleeping time for advancing my farming skills because I somehow didn't manage to get to level 10, honestly, if that's the case, you can just end it all. So on the 3rd of fall, I rightly hit 3.5 hearts with Casper. And just 3 days later, and the fairy was once again visiting me. I kinda think she's got a thing for me. But I'm not complaining. I do need all the help I can get. So, you saw the fairy? I saw the fairy. But the next day, when I went to harvest my crops, I was thinking, that's just so odd to me. Like, why aren't all my crops on the same schedule? I couldn't figure out what was going on. Like, my brain wasn't computing properly. Yeah, not all my crops are on the right schedule because of the fairy, you dumbass. This game is slowly eroding my brain, I swear. But you know what? Who even cares? Because the fairy brought more than just some fully grown crops to the farm because I hit 4 hearts with Casper. I am starting to sweat just a little bit. Will I be able to hit level 10 farming before I hit 5 hearts with Casper? I don't know. It's gonna be a close one. Well, thankfully, on day 9, I did have more farming ideas to sleep on, so the race will be very, very tight. But I am just now out of seeds, so let's keep our fingers crossed that I did prepare enough. Level 9 farming was mine at the end of the day, which does mean I need both 1 more level and 1 more heart before this challenge can really even begin. And yeah, that's kind of a scary thought, so don't think about it too closely. So the days again started to blur together, pet my cat here, water him there, and harvest some crops while I'm at it. For days I did this. Eventually, I did run out of seeds, so it all comes down to this. These final seeds, my fate rests with them. But it seems I didn't need to be quite so dramatic, because the day after running out of seeds, I had my final farming ideas to sleep on. Level 10 farming is mine! Just in the nick of time, honestly, because I did also reach 4.5 hearts with my cat the very same day. And it's so beautiful that everything just feels so right in the world being an artisan. All my hard work will be worth it. I just know it. I can sense it. And yes, I did still harvest my crops the next day. I really didn't need to, but it's just so hard to stop at this point. And stop, I would never. A few more days of petting and I was finally able to reach full hearts with Casper. Of course, I did have to wait another full day for him to realize that he did, in fact, love me. Again, real-life Casper would never wait so long. And now we can finally exit the prep stage. This is, like I said before, where the real work is really going to begin. Pets do have a 20% chance of dropping a gift once you reach 5 full hearts with them, so my future will be filled with me waking up, petting my cat, and then hoping beyond comprehension for a gift. And so my first full day of petting Casper with full hearts was off to a not so great start. No gifts. Marnie did leave me a letter saying I could buy more pets from her, but Marnie, please don't move so fast. I need to exploit the cat I have now before I can even think of getting more. A couple days later, my son finally gifted me a chub. My first fish of this entire run. Straight to the fish smoker with you. So yeah, it earned me around 200 gold. So, okay, now that I think about it, maybe, just maybe, Marnie was onto something with getting more pets because I did not get any more gifts for the rest of the season. I was excited for a periwinkle because it was better than nothing, but with a sale price of 84 gold after being smoked, I feel like I'm the one getting burnt here, okay? And okay, Casper, channel that energy and actually catch me a fish. The state of the world rests in your paws. He must have listened though, because at least he found me some river jelly the very next day. The long trek to Casper's water bowl was getting so hard, so tedious. My poor little fingers, the exertion they had to go through. I mean, I'm sure you understand. So I did eventually move his bowl closer to home so that daily pet route would be even shorter. Which means I am now closer to my impending disappointment every single day. Again, he kicked into gear. Now, I wouldn't say high gear though, since he found me a periwinkle. And the man, the myth, the legend himself had to start supervising because even real-life Casper was disappointed with his virtual self. I managed to get another river jelly, and then I could hardly believe my eyes. A rabbit's foot. I don't want to think about how he found that, but you know what? I will gladly sell it for profit. For the entire winter season, I made a whopping 1,192 gold, which is, well, something. In all honesty, if you couldn't tell by my race to get to level 10 farming, I did think things were gonna go quicker than this, but one season is hardly a large enough sample size to really go on. So, on to year 2 we go. Kent, please launch yourself out of my existence. Thank you. It's nothing personal, but you've come to my house empty-handed, and for that, I will never forgive you. Goodbye, and good riddance. It took forever to finally get my first gift of the year, and it was another river jelly. Not the worst. And then that river jelly was followed up by not just one, but 2 more river jellies. I have perhaps cursed myself to the river jelly way of life. But fortunately for me, Casper eventually dropped a shrimp, and let's hope it doesn't give me some shrimpy, skimpy profits. And okay, 251 gold, I can respect that. My next gift was a snail, which really is quite fitting since things are going at a snail's pace here. But please, don't place those bad vibes on the snail itself, because I see you, snail. Selling for 273 gold is pretty good for a snail in my book. But I guess I did really end up jinxing myself because I did get yet another low-priced periwinkle, which does round out the spring season. Overall, I did make about 2,175 gold in total, which does mean I made 983 gold in spring. So maybe just going off of this, I can estimate that I earn around 1k a season with a single cat. Summer was pretty similar. I got a snail, a new fish was unlocked, a carp, I got some green algae, river jelly, some fancy cheese, and then some more river jelly. For the entire season, I did make 985 gold, so yeah, I guess we're taking the scenic route here. Fall was even slower, if that's even possible. I got some algae, a largemouth bass, thank God for that, a snail, and a river jelly. Yeah, that was it. 832 profits for an entire season. I bet you couldn't earn that little in a normal Stardew game unless you purposefully tried. And I did not even try to make that little. And so you're not going to believe this, but it took until day 20 until I had my first gift in winter. Yes, 19 days came and went with nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's really getting dire out here. But you know what? At least Casper had the good sense to gift me a bullhead and not something skimpy like green algae or a periwinkle. And he must have felt my disappointment through the screen because he did make up for it with not only a snail, but a sturgeon as well. And then he felt not only my pressure, but Grandpa's pressure as well as we finished off the season with a lingcod to close out year 2. I am sad to report that despite all these efforts, Grandpa still only gave us one little candle. I really don't blame him. But with the high-selling fish at the end of winter, I was able to finish out the season with 5,922 gold in total profits, which does mean I made 1,930 gold for that last season. With the varying different amounts earned each season, I think it's safe to plan for about 1k a season, like I was kind of estimating before. So I guess turns out I really didn't need a larger sample size. That was wishful thinking. With these rough estimations, it would take approximately 37 years to finish all the JoJo bundles with one little cat. Now, if we bring a second cat into the equation, that could potentially speed things up, but a second cat is 40k gold, unfortunately, and for some reason, I did have it in my head they were 20k, so coming to this realization was disappointing to say the least. And not to mention, the most expensive JoJo bundle is 40k as well, so 40k for another cat, or 40k for the most expensive JoJo bundle. It's such a tough choice. But that's not even the full picture, because you can't just buy cat on its own, you need another pebble, which does come out to 5k, which means to get another cat, I would need to actually spend 45k. And like I said, the highest selling JoJo bundle is 40k, so this all just feels a little wrong to opt for a second cat. In theory, 2 cats a season would bring in 2 times the profits, which obviously would speed things up. I think given the constraints of my self-imposed challenge, the effort to kind of purchase that second cat versus only having 1 cat is not that huge of a gap as I would like, but you know what? I have 2 cats in real life, and so it only feels right for Esper to pull her weight in here as well. I mean, come on, she needs her time to shine, even if there is no Calico Cat in the game. And for that, I think that's the thing I will never recover from. But as Calico Cat owners, we're used to it. So I did officially decide the second cat life was for me, and to celebrate that, Casper gave me a bullhead. I checked my chest for any hardwood. I knew and remembered so clearly that I had stumbled across some in the mines, but keep in mind, I also have the smallest backpack space, so I definitely remember trashing some hardwood because my pockets just got too full. I was convinced I would only need 1 cat, So I headed on over to the mines to try my hand at getting some more hardwood from the barrels, since there's no way I'm taking the time to upgrade my axe. It was slow going, to say the least. Casper wanted to be in my good graces, so he did find me a largemouth bass. And then I finally decided to test out the chair method in the secret woods. Obviously, as you can tell, I quite literally have no idea what I'm doing. There was a ton of user error, and it is quite painful to watch, but eventually I did find my way into the secret woods, where I did slay a slime for a mahogany seed. Seed in hand, I fumbled, and I fumbled hard to get home. I had to watch a tutorial to get my way out because I was so out of my element. Eventually, I made my way home and planted my little seedling, but still, I did go to the mines just to gauge things to see if I could manage to get more hardwood. Although, I do think I will be safe for the time being with that mahogany seed. Again, I can't say it enough. I just hate the thought of having had the time to collect something, but instead of collecting said item, I trashed it because I just wasn't in the right state of mind. While waiting for the mahogany seed to grow, Casper found a carp, shrimp, chub, and periwinkle. But then my mahogany tree was ready for the chopping. Put it on the chopping block. Thankfully, it gave me more seeds, so I was able to plant those. And then it was time to wait once again. To round out this season, I did manage to make a total of 1,403 gold. And so it took a whole nother season for my mahogany seeds to once again get to their full potential. In the meantime, I did get a rainbow trout, a chub, another chub, river jelly, and green algae during this time that it did take for these trees to grow. But then my trees were ready, and as painful as it was, I did fork over all my earnings for Robin to go ahead and build me yet another pet bowl. So it was another low income season with just 831 profits to my name and even less gold in my wallet. I promise one day I will eventually be able to spend my money at Joja, but clearly today is not that day. Fall was a pretty lackluster follow-up to that. I mean, it really didn't do too much to help the fact I now have practically no money to my name. How am I supposed to raise a little cat son with no money? Poor guy, he deserves better. But wait, actually, I think he's the one providing for me in this scenario. So you know what? Son, do better. But it just seems the game is too good at imitating my real life a little too well. Because I just got 2 gifts. A salmon and tiger trout, which made an impressive 915 golds, most of which that gold for the season can be attributed to the tiger trout. And so these seasons started to turn into years. Year 3 turned into year 4. Year 4 was nothing to write home about. So then you bet year 4 turned into year 5, where I did start out with around 10k in my pockets. So yes, progress 1/4 of the way to adopting another cat. So, suffice to say, the years kept on coming, but the money kept rolling in even slower. Before I knew it, it was year 8, and if you thought it was time to buy a second cat, you'd just be wrong. Plain wrong. Why'd you think that? No, we have to pause. Look at my real life cat. Esper was getting fed up with how slow things were going. She wanted to be in the game so bad. But I was sad I had to disappoint her. Casper and I let her down. But now that she has an eye on things, maybe we'll be closer to adopting her in-game. Or not? Because another year rolled around, and I just have to say, it took almost 10 years for me to get a Dorado. 10 years to get a new fish. And after a little time later, well, let's be real, a lot of time later, it was finally time to buy my second cat. After over 11 years of blood, sweat, and tears, it was finally time to go to Marnie's. I had to chop my way through to get there since there was just so much debris. But nothing could stand in between me and my second cat, Esper. I did opt to get the white cat for her because, like I said, there is no calico cat options, and if we were trying to be technical about it, I do think she's probably more black than white, but I did want to be able to tell Casper and Esper apart. So she's got white on her, so she's a white cat, okay? It makes sense. We're rolling with it. So welcome to the family, Esper. I know this probably feels strange to her because she is the older of the two, but you know what? It's her time to be the annoying younger sibling. I can only hope you're significantly better at finding gifts than your brother. And now the grind to 5 hearts begins anew. But luckily, by the end of fall, I was able to get 2 hearts with her with both daily pets and water. We didn't quite make it to 5 hearts by the end of year 11, but year 12 will be our year. And exactly 2 days in, we did manage to hit 5 hearts. I never saw the I love you notification that I got with Casper, so I do feel deeply wounded by that. I put in like a decade of hard work to be able to afford you in the first place, as be a little more appreciative here. But with that being said, the real work can begin now. I know I said the real work could begin like 10 years earlier, but you know what? It starts now in year 12. And so maybe now I can start working on those Joja bundles. But yeah, before that can even begin, I need a Joja membership. And just so you don't get as worried as I was, I did eventually get a gift from Esper on day 11, so I either missed that love notification or second pets just don't get one, which is rude if that is the case, I dare say. My first dual gift day was glorious. I really could get used to that, but I guess I shouldn't get too used to it because it does hardly, if ever, happen. But then it was time. It was time to buy my Joja membership and get this whole thing kick-started. Despite having bought a pet bowl and a whole cat, it still hurts to see my money go down like that because I know how hard it is to earn it all back. The season started to fly by once again, but now that I have virtual Esper, real Esper had to make sure to stay on the case. She supervised, keeping a vigilant eye on her brother, but she was purring the entire time she did so she really does like to put the purr in Esper. But even with her help, it would take a whole nother year before we had enough funds to buy the mine carts. I waited patiently outside Joja, and I'm sure I caused a fright. Everyone probably thought I had become cat food at this point, but now, there I was, buying the minecart bundle. One bundle down, so many more to go. But I do like the sight of Morris working in the rain. And so, moving on, with little to her name in year 13, it was back to the petting grind. Now a couple times during this, I did run out of coal, but I had a solution. I'd been cutting down some trees on my farm, and I used that in the charcoal kiln. My farm is a total wasteland at this point, so it worked out pretty perfectly for me. Year 13 soon turned to year 14. Year 14 was a grind. All this work, no reward. But soon, year 14 turned to year 15, and then it was time to put my money where my mouth was and fork over 20k for the painting bundle. Again, it was so hard to let the money go, but I was left with no choice. There was no backing out now. So year 15 turned to year 16. During this entire thing, I had never accidentally trashed anything, eaten anything, or even accidentally stored something away, but that streak all ended in year 16. Regrettably, I did eat a river jelly. I effectively ate 125 gold, because yes, I do now have the gold amount memorized for much of what I've been getting as gifts. Off the top of my head, river jelly is 125. Carp is 125, sunfish is 125, chub is 209, green algae is 15, 2 bat wings are worth 30, rabbit's feet are worth 565, just to name a few. And oh yeah, I guess you can't forget the lousy periwinkle at 84, because I surely have not forgotten that price in all these years. Anyway, you can be rest assured that was the only eating accident of the entire challenge, but soon year 16 turned to year 17. I love when Esper and Casper coordinate their gifts, but I would kind of prefer if they didn't coordinate on bat wings specifically. Yeah, that would be great. Now, they must have sensed that though, because a little while later they coordinated on River Jelly, and now that's what I'm talking about. But they didn't let that trend stop in year 17 because they did go on to coordinate again in year 18 with 2 more chubs. Even my cats were getting tired of the wait because well into year 18, I finally had the 25k needed for the next bundle. Now, I have to say this is a little bit of a bittersweet moment because yes, I am making progress, but at the same time, there's only 2 bundles left now, but that also means the last 2 ones are the most expensive, obviously. But the gap between this current bundle I'm completing and the next one isn't the standard 5k gold anymore, it's now a 10k difference. So I'll have to save up 35k instead of just 30k for that next bundle, which does mean the wait will be even longer. But haven't we waited long enough? Haven't we? I guess not. Okay, I know I've said that. Things were just one giant blur. The years, they weren't just passing by. They were zooming by. 1 by 1, 2 by 2, who cares? They were going by so quickly, yet kind of slow at the same time. And throughout it all, I would kind of estimate I was maybe consistently making around 2k a season. Some seasons were better than others, as expected, but I never had an insanely good season with any kind of record-producing profits. Obviously, there's a top season somewhere in there, but I never made more than like 3k or so in one season. And so it's not like I was ever really raking in the gold. So, you know what? My cats are quite slow, but at least they're consistent. And that consistency is ultimately what allowed me to earn 35k in year 22. 2 decades come and gone, and we are finally close to the end, except not really. Because if you remember, with one cat, it did take me 10 years to get the profits to be able to get a second cat. So if everything goes according to plan, we might have like 5 more years left. 5 too many, in my opinion. And at this moment, I can't lie, I was kind of tempted to just earn 5k more and do the bus bundle first. But no, I will remain strong. I decided to emulate my cat and be consistent throughout this entire video. I mean, it would just feel kind of lackluster to not save the most expensive bundle for last. But anyway, Morris, it has been quite a while, but please get to work straight away, right now. Stop what you're doing. And yes, most of my farm is filled with mushrooms, and so it was time to grind out gifts one last time. Well, one last time for many years, of course. Almost immediately after I bought that bundle, Esper was back to supervise in real life. These sessions are cutting into her treat time, and she's just not okay with the delay in treats anymore. And as you can see, she was getting very invested. I think everyone should be more like Esp in that regard. I mean, she's kind of my #1 fan. But I guess things were taking a little too long for even her because she fell asleep on the job. Sorry, my gameplay is boring you, Es. I'll try better next time, I guess. Except I don't think I've got much more in me here, girl. But the years once again started to pick up. Or at least that is what I am telling myself. Year 22 to year 23 to year 24 to year 25. A quarter of a century, and still the JoJo route remains unfinished. But I do have quite a good feeling about year 26. I mean, it must have been something in the air because Casper decided to join back up with us. But actually, never mind. Scratch that, he was quickly replaced by Esper. Like I said, they are really fed up with this cutting into their regularly scheduled treat time, I guess. But you know what? I will take the emotional support, even though they are giving me more attention because they want to be fed, not because they necessarily want to out of the goodness of their heart. Again, it's kind of like my cats knew the day had finally come. I mean, look how invested Esper was. And not only that, but it was a double Lincoln gift day. So I smoked those suckers and waited impatiently for Pierre to open, which did give me enough money to afford that last Joja bundle. Get out of my way, I have a Joja warehouse to complete. And so, for the very last time, I paid Morris for another bundle, which means we have finally finished the Joja bundles with just the profits from my pets' gifts. It only took a mere 26 years. Which is better than I was expecting after I did some rough math earlier in this video, but it wasn't as good as I was expecting when I set out to do this challenge. But you know what? It's still a win in my book. Even with the work done, Esper was still watching. Well, sort of. She fell asleep again right as things were getting exciting. But then again, I don't entirely blame her since I was the one receiving the Joja Cola machine and not her and Casper. Without them, none of this would have been possible. And I don't know whether or not that was a good thing because I somehow don't feel like I got the retribution I was looking for. Casper certainly did not get the redemption he needed. So, I did say it's a win in my book. But is it really? I mean, it kind of feels like I'm the one who put in all the work here. But, could you imagine how powerful I could be with more cats? I feel like I would be simply unstoppable.